In previous presentations, we've been creating users, we've created groups, and we've created directories, subdirectories, and we put in files inside of this stuff here. What we're going to do now is we're going to start playing around with changing some permissions in here. Okay, I have logged in as a root user, and then I logged in as I changed roles to root, and then I switched over to a user called demo. I'm going to go back, so I'm going to exit out of this. So now I'm back in as root, okay, and I'm going to move back to the root folders, and I can go back cd once, cd space, oops, dot dot, a second time here, and I'm back at the root. All right, let's do dir just to see what there is. These are all the folders. There's my folder called music. Okay, so we're going to stay working inside of this stuff here. All right, so the first thing is we're going to start changing permissions here. So I'm going to go to change back into music, and I'm going to go ls-l. Now let's take a look at this here. In here, there is a D for the directory. RWX tells the permissions for the root user. The root user is user owner. R-X are the three permissions. It should be read, write, execute, but write is not included. So therefore, read and execute are the group permissions. Read-X are for everybody else. So those are the three permission settings inside of here. So we've been working inside the folder Jazz in the previous step. So I'm going to go back to work inside of this Jazz folder here. All right. So let's change this permission. Let's say that whatever group I give here, well, no, let's say I want to give everybody full permissions, no matter where they are here. So in order to change this here scenario here, I would have to use a command called chmod. Okay, in other words, chmod. All right. Now I can say do something like this and say I can type in the different users and different concepts, but I'm going to change this using the numerical values. If I type in 777 Jazz and I press enter, now if I go ls-l, oops, need to put a space -l, you will notice that for the Jazz folder, it has changed the read, write, execute for the group, read, write, execute for everybody. I've changed the permissions. In the previous permissions, it was read, write, execute, read, execute, read, execute. All right. Now, the W, the R, and the X all have a numerical value. Basically, for simplistic purposes, here's this. Right? Using a binary code concept. If we're doing binary, the first bit, the X of the 3, and we're just staying in the 3 here, this is bit 1. Then there's bit 2, value 2, and then bit 3 would have a value of 4. So 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. So any combinations, the R-X would be 1 plus 4, which is 5. Right? 1 plus 4 is 5. So any combinations, it could be 4 for the read, the value of 2 for the W, and nothing for execute. So I can change playing. Let's play around with the Jazz here now. I'm going to go change mod again, and I'm going to type this in. 7, 6, 5. Okay? Now, if I know this, 7 is the value for the read, write, and execute. I know that's 7. 6 would be just read and write, and 5 would be read and execute. Let's see what happens. All right. So I did this, and I'm going to go ls-l, and you'll see when I typed in that change mod of 754 to Jazz for the directory Jazz, here it is. Here's the directory. The 7, read, write, execute. The 6 is read and write because the first bit, the read bit, is worth 4, right? The write bit is worth 2, so 4 and 2 is 6. And because the execute is usually 1 bit, but it's left out, so it would be 4 and 2 is 6. And then finally, 5 would be 4, and the execute is 1, right? Which is value of 2 is left out. So the value of 4 plus 1 is 5. The value of 4 plus 2 is 6. And read, write, execute, values of 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. So 7, 6, 5 did the change for Jazz. All right, let's change directories now. Okay, remember this. drwx rw r-x. Remember that. Okay, now I'm going to change the directory into Jazz. Now I'm in Jazz. Let me clear. Now let's go ls-l. Please note that when I was doing, even though I was doing all those changes here, the Jazz text file, nothing changed. In other words, it didn't inherit. Okay, the permissions didn't inherit. So I want to change this. So I want to do the same thing. I go chmod using the numerical value of chmod. Okay, I want to give 7 for the root owner, the user owner, to have all the permissions. I want to have the group to be able to read and write. Value 4 for read, value 2 for write, which is number 6. And then I'm going to leave read for everybody else for that file here, which is going to be 4. So in other words, I'm using a 764. I press enter, right? And it gives me an error message. Well, let's look at it, what happened here. All right. And the concept is chmod, which is what I did here. Okay. I put in the values in here, but then it says, wait a minute. What am I doing? Like, what does he want me to do here? Which file do you want me to change? I forgot to put in the jazz.txt file here. So let's try that again. I'm going to go clear, just to get rid of all this garbage off the screen here. I'm going to go chmod, and I said I wanted 7, 6, 4, and it was going to be jazz.txt. All right, and if I go ls-l, you will notice now that I have made the changes. It was 7, read, write, execute for the owner. The group became read and write. The root group has read, write. Everybody else has read access. Let's do that again. chmod, and I'm going to go to 7. I'm going to go 0, right? And I'm going to go 7. Right? Because I can do combinations of 7s, 6s, 4s, 5s, whatever the values add up. And I'm going to go jazz.txt. Okay, ls-l. And basically what I've done is I've said in this file, the owner gets read-write access. The group basically has nothing. And then finally, everybody else has read-write execute access here. This is something you really want to do. Well, that's your choice. Do you want to drop groups out? That's your choice. If you want to get nobody else to have access, that's your choice. For example, let me put it to you this way. Let's say I was following a subscription scenario here. Well, as the owner, I always want to give myself root write access. That's no problem here. And then anybody who pays a subscription could be a member of the group, which would be this middle portion. All right. And then all others, because they're not paying a subscription to see my files, this would be blanked. So let's say I'm going to do this. I'm going to change this a little bit here. Okay. I'm going to change ownership of this eventually here. But right now, for the time being, I'm going to change the group. But right now, we're going to change the permissions here. So I'm going to go chmod. I'm going to change the permissions. The owner is still going to have a value of 7, right? The group is going to be rewrite and execute 7, and everybody else is going to have nothing, okay, for this file. Oh, well, of course, it helps when you type in the right names with the right syntax. Now, ls-l. Now, anybody who's, well, I'm the root, but anybody who's inside the root users group will have read, write, execute. Everybody else, unless you're a member of root, nobody else is going to have permissions in here. So if I use a user like demo2, demo3, demo4, unless they're a member of the root group right now, they're not going to be able to do anything.